En el sur de Vietnam, el majestuoso Mekong culmina su viaje de casi 5.000 kilómetros desde China, deslizándose suavemente hacia el mar. En su vasto delta, entre canales serpenteantes y una naturaleza exuberante, se encuentra una pequeña isla, hogar de una familia con una conexión profunda con el río y la tierra que los rodea. Muy cerca de la encantadora ciudad de Bến Tre, este rincón del mundo resguarda no solo paisaje de una belleza serena, sino también una riqueza cultural y humana incalculable. Pasar tiempo con ellos me permitió descubrir tradiciones arraigadas, una hospitalidad sincera y lecciones de vida que han dejado una huella en mí. En la familia que me acoge estos días he conocido a Toy, quien hoy nos llevará a dar un paseo en su barco. Su personalidad me fascina, al igual que sus historias. Más tarde espero que podamos reunirnos a solas para conversar y hacerle más preguntas directamente.
Toy es una mujer muy fuerte, muy orgullosa de su cultura y hace bien serlo. Y nos está contando la forma que tiene aquí de pescar, cómo ellos reaccionan y sobreviven con el cambio de altura del agua que es constantemente cambiando. Muchas veces hay un cambio de 2 metros de altura del agua. De hecho, en la casa donde ella nos ha invitado a dormir, allí hay un momento del día que sube el río y tenemos que ir en el jardín caminando sin zapato porque sube como unos 20 centímetros. Se han acostumbrado a vivir realmente en el agua y todo es relacionado con el agua. La pesca, creo que cultiva mucho coco. Nos contaba que con la corteza del arroz queman el fuego. Tiene muchísima distinta técnica de pesca, es muy interesante, con los barcos arrastrando las redes. Con otras personas nos está llevando con su barco que está conduciendo su padre y parece que en algún momento llegaremos a un sitio y cogeremos unas bicicletas para volver a la casa y nos mostrarás más lugares. En el Google Maps o cualquier mapa aparecen 3 islas aquí en el lugar donde estamos, pero en ese momento hay 7 y eso depende de la altura del agua. Muchas veces el movimiento de agua aparece como unas islas y entonces la usan como, ya no para vivir porque no son muy estables, muy fuertes aún, pero la usan como una buena plataforma para pescar, por ejemplo.
Toy nos guía a través de una fascinante producción artesanal de chocolate, explicando su proceso desde el cultivo del cacao en islas cercanas hasta el producto final, completamente local y natural. También nos introduce a la elaboración de exquisitos dulces de coco, un ingrediente tan abundante en la isla que esta es conocida como la Isla de los Cocos. Además, nos muestra el arte y la artesanía local, donde el fino bambú se transforma en objetos útiles.
Este lugar me acuerda muchísimo al sur de Laos, las 4.000 islas, que también hay un delta de Mekong ahí, justo en la frontera con Camboya, que estuve el año pasado. Y incluso ese pequeño camino, esa carreterita que hay, es idéntico. Esas islas tienen la misma fisionomía, digamos.
Acompañándonos toda la mañana, percibo que este recorrido es habitual para ella con viajeros curiosos como yo. Su carácter transparente revela una firme determinación, una moral arraigada y valores esenciales sólidos, compartiendo con orgullo los elementos que han marcado su vida. Al final del día cruzamos el río en bicicleta y regresamos a casa, donde tras cumplir con sus tareas me dedica un momento para conversar.
Actually, I love my childhood because I have not so much friends. In my childhood, I'm quite alone, but I feel happy because my dad makes for me many toys from wood, from leaf, and I'm grown up when I have some of that one. And I play with the tree, with the garden, so I feel my childhood is fulfilled for me. And instead of like right now, my kids, they have more things to do, but it's quite it's harmful. I have a lot of time after school, like I have no kindergarten. Yeah, the other one go to the kindergarten, but my parents, they work very hard, and if I go to the kindergarten, I stop them. So at that time, they not give me to the kindergarten, but when I play at home with my grandmom, it's wonderful for me. And then I start with primary school, but everything good. I'm like younger than the other one, but I can like catch the other one easily, like about the research, about the knowledge, because I refill from my dad. He have many local experience for me. Yeah, he told me many stories about his life, and like taught me many like daily living skill. I mean, like everything really good for me. My dad will be a teacher for me about many skills for the life. My mom, she used to be a teacher, so she taught me how to be a girl. I'm from the countryside, so I'm like when I'm joining the university, I feel like not self-confident like the other of my friends. So they have, we talk about the fashion, so they're more fashion than me, about the clothes, about the techniques, everything. So I will like slowly, and I try to learn myself and try to like get the new thing by special way, by my way. I mean, like instead of like so rush or hurry, I will be slowly. Of course, not the same level like the other one, but I can reach them day by day. And someone also like trick me like you from the island, you from the countryside, but I feel happy because I'm from the countryside, so I have something they have now, like they don't know how to cut the coconut, they don't know the ways how to like eat the coconut by themselves. Anyone can have them. They don't know how to cook some simple food. The life gives you something, so if you accept it by optimism way, so you will be happy. So we know how to keep safe from the water, and we know which season. So of course we cannot know exactly how high with the water level, for example, but we will like care in like the medium level. So we'll keep the house from the water like higher than the water level, or we try to have repair something to in case some suddenly thing come and we can like face with them. When I'm like 10 years old, my dad anyway asked me for swimming. I ride the boat when I'm 10 years old. I ride motorbike when I'm 11 years old. So when I ride a boat, my dad asked me for swimming. So I can swim, but I mean like not swim well. I can like in short way, and I can like protect myself.
En medio de la entrevista, el agua empezó a subir como si quisiera robarse el protagonismo. Sin previo aviso, nos rodeó hasta los pies, demostrando que a veces la naturaleza no necesita permiso para hacerse notar.
I'm like half 50% tradition, 50% modern life. I mean like something from the tradition, I think it's good. My family is quite tradition. I mean like in my grandparents' time, it's like 100% tradition. So my mom asked me like how's the girl look like. So how I speak, how I talk with the other one, how I'm eating, how I walking. Some standard for girl or for boy, for lady or for woman or for man. So I mean like it quite, like the standard. So it really tradition, and some people they want to break them. But in my opinion, I think like at least 70% of the tradition, law or rules is good for the human, because like generation by generation, and at least I'm in the 6th generation, so I know about my mom time, I know about my grandmom time. So I feel like that way that it can like grow a good person. And now modern life, so many things change. But I think it's if someone they have not good thinking, or they not calculate well the way or the thing, the new thing, they cannot control what they will do, and they will really in trouble. I think we can put like 70% of the tradition, and we will get the new thing, but we have to recognize the good one and get around 30%. Of course, about techniques, about internet, everything is new and it come and it's good. It have good for the people, but everything have two sides. So we cannot like 100% choose the good one, or like give up the not good one, but we will like try to choose the good one and live a little bit. I mean, I'm not perfect, but we can do that. I have no idea about the love, because I spend most of my time for studying and then I work. My family is not so rich, but not really poor, but I mean like I want to try my best to earn money. I mean, money is not a big thing, but like it's just will supply for you and for your family. I wish my parents will be like better for the life. They stop working, because sometimes I feel my mom, she gets sick. I try my best, and at that time, I mean like if I get married, so the guys can like happy with me, can stand me studying and working, so not fight with the people so much. I have some like living skill, outside skill for recognize someone's a good person. I mean like I get like just 50-60%, and I ask my dad to help me. So at that time, so the husband of me now, he tried to come to my house and talk with my dad. So my dad will talk with my husband about everything, just something, just like take to the coconut tree to talk about the papaya trees, papaya plant, something like that. And then we also, my parents talk with my parent-in-law. They are the stranger, but when they meet each other and they feel happy to talk and like friends for 1,000 years, So my dad recognized, so one boy, how the boy look like in a happy family and like in with a divorced couple, something like that. And he chose my husband's a good one. And by many ways, by his appearance, and we get married for 10 years, but like I have nothing to complain about my husband, or he not argue with me or something. We have children and we feel happy. So a lot of my friends, they fell in love, they match together, and then they break. So for me, still keep some detail for the tradition, for the marriage, for the wedding will be better. So my dad told me like, okay, one time for the wedding, for one life. I mean, it's quite hard for someone. Someone will have the open mind. They will talk about like, why only one? But for me, so sometimes in some case, I mean like 80% with like one life, one people, you will choose for your life. It will be better than much more. So my close friend, they break the law, they break the tradition, and they want to do by themselves. But at the end, I mean, like more fail than success. So I think I'm so lucky because I have the 9 parents and choose for me the good one. And right now we feel perfect. When I welcome, like in my stay or when I work with my job, like a tour guide, so I met many people from around the world. So I know more about the different culture from different area or countries. And some really kind person also like talk for me the new thing. We have to learn every day because everything's new and no one's perfect. No one's know 100%. So we just like learn forever. Some European country will call you by the way like this, but in Vietnam we only for animals. This one for the dog, and one I want to friendly call you will be like this. Really small detail, but it make good for the life. So from the small thing we can get the bigger thing, and we can link together, learn more things about you, about your culture, about your country, about your religion maybe. It's good for you. This means that like also like you have to find out the good thing. We have to choose the happy life better. So I try to learn from really tiny things, and even though I teach for my kids, I tell my parents about, because they are the old generation, so to like connect with the world. So I can explain to them, and also like good, better for the life, for everything. Even though like for the environment, for example, like in here, the local people, the old generation, they just think about like, oh, when you finish something, just rules away. But that one is you like make garbage or you make dirty, and so I ask them, oh, you see like that country or that guy from foreigner, they try to get the little plastic like this in the pocket or in the luggage, and then like, they find somewhere to put in the bin and like make it the right way. So the same like that, and change the mind of the next generation. So keep clean, make green for the environment, and you have a longer life, you have a better life. So everything. So sometimes we think it's no value, but it's really, really value if you know the way to accept it. I wish I have a good health so I can take care for my family. Vietnamese people care more about family. So when you travel, you are European, and you think about, you live for your life, you live for your own. So you can like spend money traveling and you do what you like. But in Vietnam, we care more about the group, the family. So if I want to travel, I will ask for my parents, for my kids, for my husband, for example, and I try to cover. I'm not sure the other one they want you to cover or not, but we would like in our mind for generation by generation. So already like 4,000 years. And for me, I'm not really have a big dream, but I mean like if I have a good health, I can earn money. If I have a good health, I can like care for the family. If I have good health, I can like do what I like, and then like support for the one. So less luck than me. First will be half for my family, and next for the society, for the one who in it. So the health is the most important thing for me. Good job, it means that like you can manage when you want to do your job, when you want to stop, when you can earn money. No, my parents' business, not me. Different. I have chance to do something else or like live here and do the other thing. I will be interesting, but just for a short time. Family is important for me. If have chance to do something else, I would love to try. I would love to like make challenge for me, but then anyway I will back with my family. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Toy nos enseña que más allá de las creencias que adoptemos y el estilo de vida que elijamos, lo esencial es actuar con autenticidad, siendo fieles a nuestra propia visión de la realidad. y priorizando aquello que realmente resuena con nuestro equilibrio. Su mensaje nos invita a encontrar armonía con nuestro entorno a través del autoconocimiento, a embellecer el camino hacia la felicidad con sabiduría y a transitarlo con apertura y conciencia. Durante los pocos días que compartimos en mi viaje, Toi fue para mí un ejemplo vivo de integridad, alguien cuya presencia inspira y deja huella.